قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. The hadith tonight collects Muslim, narrated to us by Abu Hurayra. And the theme that I'm going to start tonight, for maybe not a very long one, it'll be maybe a week or so. I want to take a hadith that the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام used to talk about the significance of Masajid, of the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try and shed light on maybe the aspects of the Masajid during the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام's time, actually. What happened there, what it was like, what the environment was like, how people found themselves, who was there, maybe looking at it a little bit from an angle that's maybe not just the pure bounty or the pure holiness or sanctity of the place, but rather also what services these places actually offered and how they were viewed in the eyes of the Muslims and the eyes of the Prophet ﷺ. And I think there's benefit for that. I think even for us who come to Masajid quite often, to remind ourselves of the significance of these places and the value that they carry and the importance that they have in the heart of the Ummah, so that we not only come ourselves, but we also encourage others to do that. And this is something that I can't imagine as Muslims living in the West as minorities not being an extra important communal obligation that we carry. Like if you're living in the Middle East, or you're living in countries where the majority are Muslims, and there's enough Islamic culture happening around you that if you're not pushing people too hard to do it, I can understand it. But if you're living in the West, where the Muslims are a very small minority, we're a small minority. I know, coming to a masjid quite often, you forget that. When you come to a masjid daily, you actually start forgetting that, because you look around and all you see are Muslim all day. So if you're at work all day and you see non-Muslim, but you then come for the second half of your day to a masjid, you see only Muslims, you kind of forget that for a moment. So we can lose perspective for a second, which is why I want to talk about this. Because we are a minority, and young Muslim youth who are growing up here are minorities, and that's why it's important for these places to have that significance and that importance and take their place, their actual their figurative place in the minds and the hearts of Muslims as they grow up. This should be a place they should come there shouldn't be a reason for a Muslim male specifically men, not that this is not open for everyone, and actually going to focus, even the hadith that I'll narrate will focus on the fact that masajid aren't only for men, they're actually, everyone exists in it, but specifically for men, there should be at least a salah a day. You have to have a really good excuse for not to show up at a masjid once a day. Like in my opinion, you have to have a very good excuse not to make it at least once a day. A really good one, where you are extremely busy, or you're working, you have no time at all. You have no time whatsoever to park your car and go pray Maghrib or pray Asr or pray Isha once a day. It doesn't make sense. I don't see, especially here. Again, if you're living somewhere in the Middle East, I can fathom it. I don't agree with it, but I can understand. Because the majority of people are Muslims there, and still that culture is carried. But you're a minority, your identity is being stripped away day by day. It's being clawed off you every moment, every time you walk down the street, every time you turn on the radio, turn on the TV, or you speak to someone's trying to take away who you are. So coming here was all you've got, really. It's all we've got. Where else are you going to go? Like what other? Tell me honestly. If you don't come to Masjid, tell me how do you do it? Explain to me, because the Abdul Faqir can't imagine how you could hold on to your faith not coming to a masjid at least once a day. But if you're capable of doing it, I need you to give us a lecture. Explain to me how it is you're able to do it, because I don't think it's possible. I just can't see it. This is the place that you come back to, and it grounds you, it humbles you, it reminds you of your basics, of your values, of your ethics, of the ummah that you belong to, and it puts you back on track again. And you need that. Living as a minority in this country, you need that to happen on a daily basis. And I just think it's a very important thing that not only should we perform ourselves as Muslim men, but we have to encourage our younger Muslim brothers and sisters to do the same. I just don't see it. And I'm going to try and encourage, that's the whole point of this theme, try to encourage as much as possible for all of us to do that, inshallah. And if you're doing it already, alhamdulillah, but hopefully I can encourage you to maybe take a step and encourage others to do the same. And maybe bring those who don't necessarily come here come to Masajid. Any masjid, well, I'm not talking about this one. Any masjid, actually this one's too full. Don't bring them here. Send them to the Masajid that don't have that same traction, so that the Masajid can be alive. So here's what he said, عليه الصلاة والسلام, not to take this too long. يقول عليه الصلاة والسلام, hadith in the collection of Imam Muslim by Abu Hurayra, قال, and this is very short, it's very simple. And this is just to kind of kick this off. قال أحب البلاد إلى الله مساجدها وأبغض البلاد إلى الله أسواقها. He said the most beloved places to Allah on the planet, spaces, places, corners, physical space to be in. The most beloved places to Allah are the masajid. He loves those the most. Why? Because people, well, this is the question you have to answer. Why? Why does he love it the most? Why? I can tell you some masajid he probably doesn't love very much. And it's not me making this up. He talks about it himself. لا تقم فيه أبدا. He said, لا تقم فيه أبدا. والذين اتخذوا مسجدا ضرارا وكفرا وتفريقا. يا لطيف. There's a masjid in the Quran that is described as a masjid of harm, a masjid of kufr, and a masjid that will divide the ummah. So there are places that can be portrayed as masajid, but they don't serve the purpose. They don't serve the purpose of masajid. But if they do serve the purpose of masajid, then they are the most beloved spots on earth to Allah. And then the spots he doesn't like, he likes the least, subhanahu wa ta'ala, are markets. And the reason for that is not because people are buying and selling stuff. It's because that's where, unfortunately, a lot of people feel a little bit more open with their ethical compass. There's a lot of people. When a lot of people are around and everyone's being selfish, trying to figure out what they want, that's where shaitan finds a lot of room to work. And the nafs can stare at what it's not supposed to stare at. It can say things it shouldn't say, maybe behave in ways it shouldn't behave, and maybe open doors that it should stay closed for them, and maybe even attempt to do something that is haram, whether that be morally or be financially or be anything. Not that obviously markets are needed. Obviously markets are needed. This is not a hadith trying to say close all. No, you have to stay open. But he's just reminding us, subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a lot of bad things that happen here, so stop them. These hadith have purposes. That's why he says them, alayhi salatu wasalam. A lot of bad things happen here, stop doing them. And a lot of beautiful things happen here, keep them going. And that's the peace. What are the beautiful things that happen here that we should keep going? What are they? The question has to be answered. You can just tell me it's salawat, and I'll say, okay, is that it? That's all it is? That masjid that was talked about in the Quran, that was kufran, diraran wa kufran, they had the 5 prayers, by the way. They had all 5. Just as a kind of a quote. يروي الإمام مسلم في صحيحه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أحب البلاد إلى الله مساجدها وأبغض البلاد إلى الله أسواقها. صدق رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خيرا.